Hello and welcome back to the Popcorn for Dinner podcast, and welcome to Superhero 101. Today we're doing a very, very important lecture, guys, and it's taught by the one and only Thomas Godolkin. And what's the lecture for today is how do you survive living in an asshole before a fight? And joining me to discuss all of this, the physics, the chemistry, the biology. What's a Jacko? About living in an asshole and figuring out how to fight or preparing to fight our Gen V stalwarts and the stowaway. Guys, it's Oseghale, Chiagoziem and Ebube. How you guys doing? I was about to shout and then someone just knocked on the door that was doing too loud. So
that's a little wild.
Oh my god,
that was funny as hell.
So I had to go. I was about to go, and I was like, I had to bring it down mid-scream. How you guys doing?
Yeah, man, all good. Can't believe Gen V is coming to an end. Wild season, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Chiagoziem.
No, I was gonna say I have thoughts, but yeah. A fun time.
I'm just happy to be here.
Okay. Glad.
Seriously, I don't get fined.
Wait, no. I've successfully silenced, some may say suppressed, all slave driver talk. We don't need to bring that back up. Like, no one is finding you.
Hey man, I wasn't even getting at that. It was that's just a meme. But if it hits home,
yeah, I'm just saying, I've done all I can. I'll talk about the Gen V finale today. A finale that, as Oseghale said, all our theories were proven, or they proved why we're not TV writers. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we're gonna get straight into it. But before we do all of that, Chiagoziem, do you mind enlightening the audience on your journey over the last few days via the social media apps, Instagram?
Yeah, so basically I don't really be on socials too much like that. But for the pod, I was willing to go the extra mile. I was wading through the media channels.
The pod was very loud, as if you're blaming us. I was like,
yeah. So I wanted to see what the people were saying. I went to Instagram, I went to TikTok, I went to Reddit, and I went to Discord. Discord is scary, but also
who sent you to go to Discord? I told you,
I was
she
curious.
says for the pod, she's finding a good fight.
Exactly. I didn't realize people were so against Jordan's bob. That was a startling revelation for me. Like, it's a very serious, people are against it. They even had to come out and do an interview, and they were like, yeah, because of the CGI, it's easier if they both have the same, hairstyle.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the bob was cute.
I think it makes sense also, just practically.
Yeah, I think the bob is very practical.
Right?
Just hairstyle, Jordan becomes male, and then all of a sudden is like, oh, coif. That doesn't make sense.
So, yeah.
I guess they did it in season 1, but yeah, they really don't like the bob. It's like Bobgate. It's very crazy.
What are you guys' big thoughts on the episode? I would say my first question when the episode ended was like, is there a Gen V season 3? But then there have been some interviews in the last week from Keeya where he was like, they do want to do season 3 if people watch season 2. It's basically like, look, Amazon is looking at numbers. Who are going back to cable, to network TV days. We need to have our viewers. Ebube, I'll save you for last because you are obviously new. So it's Oseghale, what are your thoughts on this finale? General thoughts, and then we'll obviously go in depth as we go on. But what are your general thoughts as you finish this finale?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was happy that all of our predictions were wrong. That means, they got us slipping. So I appreciate that. Also, I was surprised that none of the team actually died. I was like, you know what? Fair enough. Yeah, got me. I was 100% sure Jordan and Polarity were cooked. I could have put my house on that. But
says Jordan's Polarity is definitely gonna die. So
I'm glad you still have your house.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would. That's the thing. Polarity is dying for sure, but I was sure he was dying this episode. I was sure he
with
was
the black men
gone.
Yeah, you know how they be doing our people, bro. So I was sure he was gone, bro. And but all in all, I feel like it was a really well put together episode, and the way they even like approached the fight was also very surprising to me. I did not expect that at all, because again, like, you know, the kids, the frontal lobes is not developed, so they're not really been thinking. But this episode, they put the thinking caps on. I was like, you know what, fair enough. I appreciate that y'all are cooking right now. And Godolkin is, you know, that's a real villain, bro. That's a real villain, bro. Like I like the fact that like they were literally getting into the inner workings of his mind, and it's just like, yeah, this is sick nigga. Like, I appreciate that so much. And obviously, like the cameos, hey man, I'm not gonna lie, when I saw my boy A-Train, I was gassed. I'm not even gonna hold you. I was gassed. But that just confirms that he's dying first for sure.
I knew you'd say that. I just knew that was coming next.
How does that confirm?
Bro, he's literally the forefront of the resistance. Like, come on, bro.
It's not it's just the fact. Anyway, we'll get to that. Chiagoziem, I want to know your general thoughts, but also, does this episode soften your Mary? Or even more so, has the last week on Twitter softened your Mary?
Yeah, I know y'all gonna hate me for what I said last week, but you know, it is what it is. Overall, I low-key was like, is this a dream? At the end of the episode, I feel like a lot of things happened very, very, very fast. For me personally, I did feel like there was some rushing element. It was just like 40 something minutes long. So I don't know if they were trying to cram a lot into it. I feel like we didn't really get to sit in some of the characters that I thought we were going to sit in. I mean, we sat in pools of blood, but we didn't sit in Bankole. I'm trying to have a serious
I think what she's trying to say
show.
is that she found herself a little bit worried that she might be dealing with plot contrivances.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Not Greg, but contrivances. Yes,
like,
there we go.
Please, let's focus. Like I said, I'm not thinking about that man. Back to the plot.
Sorry to that man.
Yeah, the rushing. I felt like some aspects were rushed. Me personally, I don't know how we've gone from. Anyway, we'll discuss it at the end. But the ending and the character that we lost, I was like, interesting. Did we really lose him? Anyway, I digress. Our sister Sage annoyed me for 2 reasons.
Okay.
The first reason, and I need to read the direct quote. I feel like everyone that knows me knows that I really love bubble tea. So for her
she's not wrong. I was gonna bring this up. She's not wrong. I'm sorry.
Did she say bubble or boba?
I mean boba in bubble tea, like the the balls. So for her to describe them as tiny, you're an adult. Why are you laughing?
What are you, 12? Like, I was literally just about to say that. I was like, what are you, 12?
I'm also a man with a podcast. Like, there are only so many levels of maturity.
I'm a man with a podcast.
Well, maybe you're the outlier. I don't know what to say to you.
Oh, God.
I have a podcast mic in front of me.
For crying out loud.
But we can just move on. Nobody had to bring it up. We can just move on. I edited it out. Let's just continue.
As I was saying. For her to describe boba as tiny, disgusting squid testicles, I just never needed. Do you know what squid testicles taste like?
I can imagine based on how I've tasted boba.
Wow.
So there's boba agenda on the Gen V part.
I'm not going to. She said that, and I thought about Chiago because Chiago loves it, but also like, this is the smartest person in the world. She's correct. This thing is disgusting.
Wow, okay.
Wow.
And tying in with that smartest person in the world. See, this is why when all you lover boys and lover girls catch those feelings, you still need to maintain that level of sense and critical thinking and analysis. Because she was busy asking homeboy to move in. Meanwhile, she didn't foresee that he would still be going on his culling expedition. So just a word to all, particularly the girlies, please, as you are dabbling in matters of the heart, the head should also be within those considerations. Stay vigilant always, ladies. The streets, as we have seen, are dangerous. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Right.
Oh my God. Thanks. How did we do that? This is the magic of editing in real time. Oh my God.
Don't worry about it.
You have to drop it once a season, just so people are
So
surprised.
it was for me?
Yeah, it was for you. It would be. What are your thoughts on the episode, the season? So far, obviously, your first time talking about the season, and then you brought up the word, even though you were helping Chiagoziem, and brought up the word plot contrivance. Is that something you felt as well? And then
It's something that I felt people would call out. I think that there are a lot of things I can kind of excuse, but I do feel like this is one of those situations where a few extra minutes of runtime, maybe like even 10 extra minutes, which obviously is a long time in storytelling world, that probably could have gone a long way into making certain things make a bit more sense, making Marie understand certain things. I think to some people, this could feel like an ending where they knew they wanted to get to this ending and they were like, okay, what are the things we have to do to get there? That's a fine way to write. But one of the issues with writing that way is sometimes certain things you do because they're convenient and not necessarily because they're how the dominoes would normally fall. One example, I guess, is the fact that, Marie was able to see that Cypher didn't have any V in his blood, which obviously tipped us off. But by that same logic, why didn't the show ever have her realize that Godolkin, whom she saw in person, right? When she got there, like she could see that this guy had V in his blood. Like when she touched him, like that's the main point I'm referring to. When she touched him and she was able to, she could have done something there. Maybe I don't know if that may not necessarily have stopped her from healing this person in front of her, but at the very least, it would have led to asking some vital questions. It took Kate kind of standing there to realize, okay, this guy is speaking in the exact same cadence as Cypher, which, by the way, amazing syncing of performances from everybody, like with the whole like Godolkin mind thing. That was very well done. So Kate realizing that it was what actually allowed them to run, and he actually lets them run because he knows that they're gonna come back. And I will get to that later because I do have thoughts on the way this man thinks. But yeah, I do think that the season was good. I think pound for pound, episode for episode, this was very engaging. The stakes were raised every step of the way as they reached the final villain, which is something you absolutely want, because when you don't do that, the climax of a season, the climax of a show does not feel earned. I think everything felt earned here. The end probably could have posed a little bit more difficulty for the main characters, but they showed some ingenuity that kind of balances that out, which I guess we'll get into when we talk about pocket dimensions. But yeah, I appreciate everything in the season overall, and I think it did deliver.
Okay, so I want to talk about
what were
the
your
end of
thoughts?
Godolkin. Yeah, so I'm gonna get to it. I want to talk about the end of Godolkin and the end of the episode later on. So I'll get into that. But quickly, before I forget, I only realized it when I was watching this episode that, like, I think it must have been maybe our first episode. No, I think it was episode 4. I was describing like my love for Cypher, and I kind of described how Hamish Likita was playing him, like the voice and the tilt and things like that. And I realized now it's because he was talking like a man from 1960. He was talking like he was using.
You didn't think about that before?
No, I didn't.
I thought that was part of the wavelength that you were on, at least when I was listening to you.
About me, and there's I don't do theories. I just look at what's in front of me, right? Unless it's any podcast, I'm like, I have to do a theory section or whatever. That's why it took us 7 episodes to do a theory episode. I don't like, even White Lotus, I don't really like theory podcasts. I've never enjoyed it. I like to just talk about what's in front of me and then, but anyway, so yeah, I was like, oh, that's why he had that tilt. It was like, oh, that tilt to his voice is because he was talking like a 1960s person. Ebuka had an issue. I saw him tweeted it, which is kind of similar to what you're saying, Ebube. And let's do something, because Ebuka doesn't listen to this podcast. He barely listens to the ones that he's on. So let's do something. Anyone who is listening to this, if you know Ebuka, I would like you to message him. Just be like, wow, I can't believe that happened. And if Ebuka has listened to this episode, he would reply in a way that shows that he's listening to this episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
We won't give him what to say. I want everyone, all three of you as well, message him when the episode comes out. If you're listening to this, message Ebuka. Just be like, wow, I can't believe that happened. Just leave like that. No follow-up, nothing. He asks a question, nothing. Just let's see if Ebuka actually listens to this podcast. That's all I'm saying. You have his number. Nobody should tell him. Please, no one should tell him. Just message him, DM him. Don't tweet it because that's too public. Actually, tweet it if you want. DM him, message him on Instagram. You have his phone number. Just be like, wow, I can't believe that happened. Everyone just message him when the episode comes out. Let's see if Ebuka actually listens to this podcast. Anyway, so
Okay.
Ebuka was talking about, like, again, plot contrivances. And I do think a lot of the issues that people are having, I can really kind of explain them away. Like, and this is never me carrying water for the show. I think lots of things, like, again, these characters are stupid. And as Oseghale said, their brain has not fully developed. But also, like Marie, in that moment, in her head, Cypher is upstairs killing her friends and Polarity. She's not going to be like, oh, and she believes that this is because again, Stan Edgar's like, this is the guy. We kill this guy, we solve our situation. He's so like, I maybe a more level-headed, experienced person is like, oh, let's assess the situation. But she's rushing and things like that. So my thoughts on this episode, I like 90% of this episode. I do, but the things I don't like happen at the end. And not even where you guys are thinking about. And I don't know if it's plot contrivances, but it definitely goes to Chiagoziem's thing of things being compressed.
Convenient.
But I don't think it's 10 minutes more. I think we need like at least half a season more in the storylines that I have issues with. Like I do think some things were compressed, and we'll talk about them as we go on. But and that was kind of like my issue with the show is like like a lot of the other issues people have, I can explain them away. I can be like, this is why this happened, or this makes sense for these characters and things like that. Like somebody was talking about like Marie controlling them, and we did this last week. It's like
superhero syndrome.
Yeah, it's like it's gonna happen. It's like saying, oh, it was surprising that Paul Atreides became who he became at the end of. No, it's like the steps were there. It's like when you get the power, you get the power. So like it kind of made sense. But let's even use that, because this episode starts with Marie. She's like a beaten dog. She's like in the corner. She feels shame and guilt and all of these things. And I want to talk about a specific scene, which is the scene between Marie, Kate, and Emma, which Emma says is the next step to their threesome.
Yeah.
Emma is thinking like people on Twitter, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I think that scene is a direct response to episode 5, or maybe not even response, a direct follow-up to episode 5, and even more so our podcast on the episode, which for anyone who's following us all season was the podcast that we went quite deep. But they in this scene, they say the quiet part out loud. Like Mary says, I'm going to be someone that cuts myself every time. Emma says, I want to throw up and I want to eat right now, but I want to do that in Amira. And I think, again, it's reflecting episode 5, but then they say what the point of it was, which is like, we are fucked up, but so is everyone, right? But we have each other, which is what I was trying to say, like, it's community, it's friends, it's family, it's love. It's those people are the ones that will, like, everybody's fucked up, and it's those are the things that will take you out of it and help you out of the darkness. And I like that scene was there, because I think it shows again that we're not Charlie Day. It always started drawing random connections. Like it was in the text. It shows that it wasn't a mistake where they did in episode 5. Like those things were there to do. It reminded me of one of my favorite lines in The Breakfast Club, where a character says, "We're all pretty bizarre." It was like everyone's pretty bizarre. Some are just better at hiding it. Right? It's a version of that. But yeah, I don't know. Did that scene work for you guys? Was it a non-entity? Did you just skip past it?
No, I feel like I like the scene, and the fact that Emma, even though she was in a serious moment, was still able to maintain her whimsical and funny self, and she was the one really like motivating them and stuff, because Kate was like that. Sorry, not Kate. Marie was like, oh yeah, that she's not special. She just let all these guys get in her head, and Emma is just like, that's bullshit. Like, yeah, you made some mistakes, but at the end of the day, we're all fucked up and we're all in this together. So it was cute. I like that.
Emma's line delivery of fuck up is incredible.
Bro.
I've watched episode twice and I laughed every time. Her delivery of fuck up is incredible. Chiagoziem, as someone who that episode, our podcast on that episode really did not that it did a number, but like it was surprising to you when we discussed all those things. Like, how did that Emma bringing that up? How did that like make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like fully surprising to me. Like some of the themes that were quite blatantly in the front. Yeah, I did like pick up on like Marie so far, Emma's eating disorder. I also, sidebar, about Annabeth's power, because, you know, it's kind of linked to some sort of situation. People were saying that it could be linked to like hers could be a manifestation of like anxiety, because she's thinking of like all these different possibilities of what could happen, but then in the moment, and I had to watch some scenes as well, she's like frozen, like whenever she has
like the real life comp, like what they could be using her powers to talk about.
Oh yeah, like
yeah.
So I saw that and I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool. I hadn't thought of it, but no, I thought the moment was cute. I'm happy my girl Emma is still alive. I knew they weren't going to kill her because they need that comedic relief, and she gonna give it to us every time.
She's the only funny person on the show.
Yeah, she really is.
I think it's more than that. Actually, I would go so far, honestly, as to call her the emotional heart of the of the season.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'd say so. She's the only one that. She's the only one that has, I feel, very strong emotions.
Yeah, and I do think like. You could, if you want to be a dick about it, maybe like go in with a microscope on the right thing or whatever, and it's something corny or cringy or whatever. Two words I don't necessarily like when describing art, corny and cringy. I've never really liked using those words because I just feel like somebody's corny is another person's masterpiece. I feel like there are more limited ways we can discuss things. But anyway, I do think that is what some of the stuff that Gen V does best. Like, just those kind of relationships and the stories between those characters and helping these characters. Like, Kate is there now. Kate is in. Like, I don't think there's going to be another heel turn from Kate.
Have we all forgiven? Is Kate forgiven in these streets?
I just need to be sure. I think the show has forgiven her.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, low key, when Marie was healing her, I was like, is Kate about to do something? Because
I also think maybe the Kate. Fair enough. I like it.
Yeah, that's fair though. Caution.
Chiagoziem never change. Yeah. Keep on suspecting Kate. But I also think there's also like there's the idea that like it's easy to be swept up in the idea. Maybe that's I'm not trying to say like it's easy to get swept up in white supremacy ideals, but like she's a child and she's a teenager and she was fed this thing and votes this corporation made her believe this thing. But I guess the good thing is that she's now friendship is the thing that is coming up to save her, maybe
redeem.
Yeah. Well,
let's say redeem.
Redeem. That's a good word. Wait, what did you think of that scene? And I guess of the mental health themes this season.
I think it's quite prescient. I think that's actually the point of a show like Gen V. You know, when you have something like The Boys, that's like, if A, B, and C don't happen before X, Y, Z, the world will explode, right? You need a show like Gen V that's like, my friend is in danger and I need to do something about it. You know, like these grounded stakes are what makes a show like Gen V matter and actually even colors the world of The Boys better, because it's the relationships in the show that actually, I would say, even give meaning to everything that we're watching. Like, I always say that character is the most important thing. Like, that's basically the asset, right? So I think Gen V is really, really good at character work. And I wasn't surprised by how heartfelt that scene was. I thought it was very well performed. I thought the words written for the characters were amazing. The delivery was great. There was just the right amount of comedy that didn't undercut the emotion. Like, this wasn't I'm gonna say mid-era Marvel Phase 2 or anything like that, where like the characters are having a moment, and
I
then
could
all of
see
this.
that Marvel drive-by from a mile away. I could already see that you're gonna do that.
Yeah, and I was waving at you from a distance, but we both knew
and
it
I was
was
still
coming.
like, dude. I was like, bro, dude. I was like, bro. He's my friend. Don't you? You still shot him. Still shot him. Anyway.
Yeah, I know, but I think it's one of the reasons I think it's worth mentioning is that, lest we forget, a show like this can only thrive the way it has as a response in the media landscape to stuff like Marvel. Like, that's how people would receive it. So I think that distinction is actually worth pointing out just because of that. And yeah, it's well done. It sets things up. Functionally it works too, because Annabeth gets a chance to change. These guys get a chance to talk. It's a follow-up from everything that we saw before. They get a sense to reassess their relationship. It actually provides that last driving force for being united in the final act of the episode. So yeah, I probably one of the better scenes in the episode, maybe even in the season.
So just to even go off what you guys said, there's another scene like that in the episode, which is the scene between Dog and Polarity.
Yes.
Just before they smoked my guy Dog, bro. And it's so crazy because it's like, I feel like it was kind of not the end, but like a beautiful bow tie on Andre's arc, right? The way Dog speaks about Andre. And he says that like Andre was fearless.
Yeah.
And I love that kid. Andre was fearless. He always found a way to piss Cypher off. And like, he doesn't even know how he was doing it. Like, he could always get one up on him. And it was like that. Like, Andre was a real hero. And it's like, it's so crazy because it's like, he was saying this from, like, he wasn't just saying it to say, like, he was in the backseat, but he was watching Andre the whole time. He was like, this is like, Andre was the embodiment of a real hero. He sacrificed everything for his friends. And he looks at Polarity and said that you would have been proud of him. And again, for Polarity, it's just like, like, I think that's the first time this season, right, that like, he has gotten that validation about his son being who he actually thinks he is from somebody that is not his son's friends, right? Like, it's different when he's like somebody else, like an antagonist in this view per se. Only for this nigga not I just like, bro, wow. But I wasn't surprised because again, let me tell you one thing about Sage, bro. She don't leave no boxes unchecked. She doesn't believe in it. And I respect it. Fuck her, but I respect it.
No, like, it's true, because just watching that scene between those two guys and feeling, I remember thinking like, okay, where does Doug go from here? I like that the show was actually even having them ask those questions, because the audience is like, okay, so what's going to happen to this guy? Are we going to see him again? And then all of a sudden that happens. And I think it's good that Gen V can kind of, keep us in this world that is created here, this kind of like more intimate, grounded stakes world, because I'm sure there are some people who are watching this and they were like, oh yeah, I know exactly what's happening. But me, I was like, what could this possibly be right now? When I saw Noir, I felt hope literally run and hide for a moment. Like, I was like, the amount of despair that just washed over me. And then, why is he needs to stop talking, by the way. I actually agree with all the people in the show on that. He needs to stop talking.
He be talking a lot.
Like, genuinely. But yeah, I think it works because, you have that scene, and you have the scene we just talked about with the students. And then for me, it all comes together in that final scene between Emma and Polarity, because I really do feel like their relationship was the thing I liked the most about this season. Like, it was one of the things I liked the most. Their friendship kept the storylines connected, and it kept the characters kind of united in their one goal, which they were approaching in different ways, especially when Polarity was like, off to the side. I feel like without their relationship, Cypher torturing Polarity, we may not have cared about him as much, but we did, and that added to the season. Like, the show used it to not only give Sean Patrick Thomas something to do, but also say something meaningful about grief and loss, right? And I think that's actually one of the major themes / through lines of this of the season, because I think in a different show, they probably would have stopped bringing up Andre in like episode 2, but they didn't. They kept going and they made that matter.
Before that scene, there is a big fight. And as we go to talk about that fight, I want to bring up this comment from our last week's episode, episode 7, from Alden Pond 6467. They're like, thank you for your content. Thank you for listening. So okay, so why was Doug holding Mary in the picture? We kind of explained that by that point, Cypher was already, I think he said in this episode that like Godolkin was controlling from 96. Yeah. So 30 years essentially. But I like this comment because they're like, I really want the fight to be between Godolkin and Emma and her freaky friends, because the primary weakness of a racist white man is that he underestimates everyone else. And like that's prescient, that's prevalent to this episode because like Bushmaster comes back. We need to have a what they call it, a name for the pocket dimension asshole boy.
Even the useless ones. Oh my god.
We can call him the Booty Galaxy.
Wow. Hey yo.
That sounds like
I did not see that coming, but
my search bar somewhere else.
I was so annoyed that it works.
yeah. Chiagoziem, is everything all right?
No, like, did you hear what he just said?
She's not okay.
What did you say?
Okay.
What did you say?
No. What an interesting search bar you have, Bankole.
I appreciate. Oh, anyway, but yeah.
Shout out to that guy though, by the way. Like, not the guy with the rectal pocket dimension being a sensible decision maker. Like, this just shows you can't judge a book by its cover. Like, genuinely. First of all, we have to give the writers flowers for making his absolutely repulsive power relevant to the plot.
Bro,
this man, like, the fact that they woke up and he was still there is like, yeah, I actually clocked what you guys were saying. Like, that stuff doesn't make sense.
Dicks on your face, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to American Vandal season 1. It's like I start to do what I need to do. Guys, if you haven't watched American Vandal, go watch American Vandal. That was a random thing that came to my head, but please watch American Vandal on Netflix. Show. That's one of Netflix's best shows. Please watch American Vandal. I like their thought process about like the primary weakness of a racist white man is that he underestimates everyone else. And I mean, Mary says it point blank in this episode, like as you just mentioned, like even the useless ones, like we're all like, it's not the power. At the risk of sounding quote unquote corny, it's not the power. It's like who uses the power and what they use it for.
What they use it for.
So it's not that you can control minds or you can teleport. Maybe you just have a Bushmaster or your pocket dimension asshole, Booty Galaxy. Like it's like how you use the power and what you're using it for. And in this case, they're using this to save their friends. That's what the comment was like, what I would have liked to have happened during this season is for Emma to connect with a lot more quote-unquote dud-tiered soups and for her to cleverly use all of their weird parts of Godolkin. I do think it's a lot to expect them to connect to more, but there's only 8 episodes a season. I do think like 3 or 4 is a good number, but again, they're on track because they do use these weird powers to stop Godolkin in a way that you're like, maybe there's a different way we could have done this.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that Bushmaster is involved.
Those are the kinds of people who would join the resistance anyway.
Exactly.
Right? Like, so
and it's
it makes sense.
It's a full circle of their own art. So they're like, we can't do it. All we can do is write resistance on the wall. And
Fact, because literally, when I saw them, I'm like, why are you bringing these people to a fight, bro? Like, can we be for real right now? But then they did their thing, and I'm like, what? Fair enough, man. That's on me. That's on me. I was not expecting all that.
Yeah, and then Alden Pond goes into they said they don't trust Greg, which, look, I was with you. I was proven wrong. I'm sorry, we're together. But then they go into some high-brained theorizing. They're like, I would love if Kate tricks Godolkin into healing her while in Mary's body, and then she takes him out and puppets Sage into the boys season 5. So it's a lot. They were doing a lot. But you know what? We appreciate their good theories. The other theories is you can't write that in one episode. That's a season's worth of story they wrote there in that one line. So we love them. We love Alden Pond 6467. So my issue with the show is in this scene. Maybe I had convinced myself that Godolkin was more than a 2-episode character. I do think not only was the killing rushed, I do think it's a waste of this character. I think this is a character that should have antagonized them a little bit longer. It seems to. I never like this thing when you're controlling a character, and then we love that character, and then you stop, and then the real person in charge dies after one episode. I feel like now let us show us why that person is like a worthwhile adversary as well.
I get
like
what
why
you're
is
saying.
Godolkin worse than Cypher?
Do you know this remind me of like Game of Thrones?
I was just about to say, like, yeah,
we
Bankole is
spent
complaining
so many seasons with this
that they defeated the Night King only to go and fight Cersei.
In one episode, when we finally saw this man in all his glory, he was murked. So yeah, I also had a problem with how quick he
really?
died.
You guys?
Yes, because I'm like, we spent this entire season. Godolkin, where is he? Who is he? Oh my gosh, is he going to control XYZ? He did control Marie, so
yeah,
fair enough. Very briefly. And you know, I would have expected, even if he were to die, I still, maybe if there was another episode and he died in the next episode, so we can marinate with his personality and his actual actions. Fair.
Or if he'd made it into the next season.
Yeah.
But, see, I get what you guys are saying, but from the beginning, I knew he was dying this episode.
Yeah.
Two reasons. He's too dangerous. That's one. This is not the kind of guy that you take half measures with. I knew that, like, they were killing him. So, again, my initial theory was that, like, they would kill him, but he would transfer his consciousness into somebody else's body, right? Because I felt like they would expand the story a little bit more.
Professor X
I knew, exactly. But I knew he had to go. He had to go. Like, bro, you got, like, this guy is potentially, like, top 3 most dangerous people in the whole boys universe right now, bro. And mind you, his powers were also expanding as he was doing that stuff. As he was doing that stuff, his powers were expanding. So it's like, bro, if you have a guy like that, dead to rights, you have to take him out. Like, there's no two ways about it. There's no, there's no.
So let me ask you this question. Both of you, Oseghale and Ebube, because you guys were both. And again, I don't think it's a right or wrong answer. It's just what Chiagoziem and I felt. If this was its own show, because right now I'm thinking of The Walking Dead and Negan, and I'll explain why in a second. But if this was its own show, and there wasn't The Boys, like it was just the Gen V, and Gen V season 3 was going to come and continue from where Gen V season 2 stopped, right? There was not The Boys in between. Do you think this character that still died this season, or would he have carried over into the next season?
Here's my thing, right? I understand why you're asking it that way. So let me clarify that I do actually agree with you and Chiagoziem, but I agree with Oseghale in the sense that it essentially had to happen this way, right? It had to happen this way because, first of all, like, in a world where the two shows are kind of merging, for lack of a better term, you know, you have, and that's something that you just kind of had to admit once you started seeing Sage pop up everywhere every now and then. But the fact that the two shows are merging, it begs the question, is like, okay, if there's a guy like this in existence, how do we deal with the idea that Homelander is supposed to be the final threat of the show that everybody's trying to defeat? Because somebody like this is definitely going to clash with Homelander. And, you know, we had this whole idea. The show actually, I think, tries to address this because Sage is on this whole thing of, okay, we need to introduce you to Homelander. We need to figure out how, you know, you guys can work together, how you can fit into the general plan and all that stuff. But, you know, the guy doesn't jive with all that. And, you know, I do have thoughts on that we can get into at a different point. But I feel like if this show was just Gen V, you know, it was something else, it's not likely that they would kill him. They probably would leave him for another season now that he exists. But I also don't think it's impossible because I think it's one of those things where, like, you have to use what you have at your disposal. And Marie having the powers that she has now after being trained by this guy, who knows, like, there could be another credible threat. Plus, there's the fact that he may have actually transferred his consciousness. We don't know. Like,
we don't know.
Like, that could happen. We could come to season 3. Like, there were hella bodies in that room.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't think that would be the case, but it's be a nice theory.
It's unlikely, but at the same time, like, while they would have kept, I guess the answer is like, while they would likely have kept him alive longer if the boys didn't exist. It's not necessarily completely out of pocket that they didn't, because I think that even if the boys didn't exist, there's a way for the story to move forward.
Oh, I mean,
without
there's definitely
that,
a chance, yeah. But
without
I think
him dying.
I think we can all agree that it's more likely that there was no the boys. This was his own show. Because it's like when you build a guy like this, you're like, okay, let's see him. Because the thing is, like, you always want to increase the stakes. So you always want to make situations worse for your characters. So if you're not showing us this guy is this powerful, okay, let's see how the characters fight him next season. It's like Negan, which is our part of Negan. It's like, you don't bring in Negan and Keeya after 2 episodes. Fair enough. The Walking Dead might have overstayed their Negan escapade, even though somehow I think Negan became a hero. I thought of Walking Dead by like season 10. But like, he has his own show, whatever. My point is like, you keep him for, I think, another season. Right? Maybe this twist even happens in the finale. And then you're like, I don't know if I agree, but that's the villain for the next season. I'm just like, if Godolkin is this guy and he's this powerful, okay, let's see Mary deal with him for a season. Let's see them actually, because it's like, okay. But then if you just pop his head, which I do think, again, it's an interesting character growth that nobody mentioned. Like, she just killed this guy, like, flat out.
Yeah, we did.
In a way that Newman used to kill people.
Signs. I get your disappointment though, because it's like, you know, they were setting this up and and it felt like they were going in that direction. But I think they did a good job of pointing out that, or at least giving some silent clues that this wasn't going to be the case through, you know, our good friend Jessica. And I honestly feel like,
did we know her name before?
Yeah,
like
that. We kind of did. We did actually.
Stage's name was Jessica.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's been mentioned at least once. But
they mentioned it, yeah.
But the thing is though, you know, as soon as Polarity, because as everybody was like basically about to be completely cooked, I'm like, okay, is there going to be something saving them? Turns out that there is, and it's Polarity, which I'm sure some people will also have a bit of issue with. But
Polarity, that's been established.
Yeah,
that's established. Like,
yeah,
and that's why I thought it was going to die.
Yeah, like as soon as that man walked in, I knew that Mary was going to end up popping Godolkin's head. Like, because it's like, there's no way, like, this guy, he doesn't have super strength, doesn't have anything. Like, his mind is his power, right? So once they threw a rock at him and his bones were broken, and then it's just clear that his head was going to get popped. Yeah. But then, you know, Sage, I think it's funny because through Sage, they kind of started trying to tell us, this guy may not last long. And I guess maybe I'll talk about my, you know, quote unquote anti-Godolkin thoughts now, because first of all, Sage obviously must have been really, really happy to get a chance to be intimate with somebody without having to lobotomize herself. I think that, you know, she had been looking forward to some kind of intellectual equal. Just when she thinks she gets that, you know.
Do we think, sorry to interrupt you, do you think this whole thing with Godolkin started before or after Homelander came to see her last season?
Ooh. In my head,
it doesn't seem like a now thing. It seems like it's going on for at least a year, at least.
Yeah, but I think she's been around for at least a year. I think it happened after, because I don't see how she would have had access enough to even discover a guy like this without Homelander showing up.
Okay, fair. Continue, sir.
But yeah, so, you know, she's faced with that crushing reality that the only impressive thing about this guy was his ability to catfish her, because his short-sightedness is loud. It's actually loud, because she starts to kind of, when he's doing that live stream, that's where it begins. He's doing the live stream and like you can see the buyer's remorse on her face.
Yeah, you can see the pussy drying up.
It's crazy.
Like Jesus you can actually see it on her face. Like, you know that feeling, like, I don't know, man. Like it's just, you can just tell. And I think, you know, he revealing himself to the world immediately was just like, you know, a choice. Like, I'm watching this thinking, you're not a dumb person, but maybe you are. Like, it's like stupidity or arrogance. And it's
arrogance.
Can you seriously be this arrogant and irreverent of the long and short-term consequences and still be considered smart? I don't know.
In a world, it gave Sage the ick.
In a world where Sage doesn't let Polarity go, doesn't his plan work?
But that's the thing. That world doesn't exist because I realized that Sage calculated that. Like, this is part of the buyer's remorse. Like, when she's having that conversation with him and, you know, she lays everything out and he's like, what about our plan? And he's like, but my plan is better.
My plan is better. You got that.
That's the moment that she's like, okay.
Once he said that,
instant
it's like we're just doing slow horses. And I was like, if somebody says something that is against Diana, I'm like, you're wrong. In this case, once he said my plan is better than Sage's plan, I was like, oh, you're dead. you're
Oh,
dying.
no, literally,
like,
because
yeah,
she was actually giving him a chance. Like, she was like,
This was
bro,
her giving
like,
him a chance to redeem himself.
literally,
I was like,
literally.
I was like, we've
'cause
established that she has the best
he,
plans.
even he mentions it. He's like that everything she said so far has worked, but now you suddenly think your plan is better. My nigga, you could not wipe your own ass a couple of days ago.
I gotta look at their plans. My dad's
Like,
plan
the
was
only
better.
reason his plan up to this point succeeded is because of her. Like, she
So
was the one that
literally,
she
calculated
was
when
the one
everybody
behind
would
it.
come back. Like,
Yeah.
there is no him in this body without her. And now all of a sudden, well, I'm back now, so my plan is better than yours. You're
But
finished.
the beautiful thing is that, like, it actually plays into the kind of person his character is. Like,
Exactly.
you can tell. Like, so it literally makes sense that it goes down that route. Like, I think Sage was just surprised that, like, after everything, because literally, bro, without her, he couldn't have done any of this. So maybe she was thinking that at least, you know, he'll be level-headed enough to, like, follow along and they'll carry out the rest of the plans. So, but she's like, wow, this guy is more of a dickhead than that.
Just
Sage is
clouded by
interesting.
love.
I'll talk about Sage in a second, but I also just something funny to me is that when Godolkin gets into this new body, or his real body rather, he's feeling all these things like the food, says the boba thing, and I was like, oh, he immediately gets his own hand and he realizes the power of aura forming. He's like, Mary, you know what?
It's like, it
I
just
do
feels
kind of get
right.
this hand stuff.
She said it just feels right.
Before, when I was a brain in a jar, I didn't get it, but now that I have my own hands, I'm like, I get our aura forming here. Sage is
There was
interesting.
something Godolkin said that was so funny. He said that how can an ocean land dolphin fucker like the deep
Like the
be in
deep.
the seven? And I'm like, you know what, bro? You're not wrong.
You're right there.
And he speaks about Homelander's character. He's like, that Homelander is so fragile that he can't stand competition.
He
But
has to
that's
surround
why
himself with mediocrity.
Literally, he has to surround himself with mediocrity, and like we have to celebrate it. And I'm like, you know what? Fair enough, bro. You spitting, but
I don't know if
you crazy.
But sorry, yeah, I don't know if the boys has made this clear, but when he said that, it kind of was an epiphany to me. I was like, oh, he's right. I was like, everybody, like the seven is bad because Homelander doesn't want anybody good
It's
around
been
him.
said. Like, I think
has
the
to
boys
have
has
been
actually
said, yeah.
the boys has
I think
actually
it has to have been
tried to
said.
make it clear
They've
to
tried
us
to
through
make it
Stan
clear,
Edgar.
yeah.
Like, it's Stan Edgar that has been that voice of reason before in the boys. We don't really have much Stan Edgar here in the
I think it's because it's been a while. I was like, oh, yeah, that's why
because
Dick's there because
nobody has explained it as well as Godolkin. Like, he essentially just said all the subtext out loud.
Because, bro, even I remember when they were picking new heroes for the seven, and I'm just like, why the fuck are they picking these guys? Like, what's
look at the
going
people
on?
they're bringing. It dawns on you, right? Like, this is why they keep bringing
This
people
is why
that
they keep
don't make
bringing-
sense. You know, like, on some level, you'd be like, okay, yeah, I guess someone like A-Train could be here. You know, this
So
guy
that's the
trained his
thing.
whole life. But
I'm like,
you look at
they're
someone like
Justice League
Translucent.
counterparts, and you're like, oh, everybody's like the Deep, Aquaman, Flash,
Yeah.
A-Train. You don't realize, actually, no, but they are bad because
They are
Homelander
bad.
wants bad people
Because even
around
when you
him.
think about DC, like, what is everybody compared to Superman? Genuinely.
Yeah, you could argue that Superman, if he was that type of person, he's like, I guess Batman will not let him do that.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, let's not get into that
Just
today.
Anyway,
But it's a personality thing too, because I feel like, you know, in terms of Godolkin himself, I find myself wondering how people eagerly named a university after this guy if he was such a dick. Because it's not like the V changed his personality. Like, I can't even decide whether it's hilarious or annoying that they really went with the whole...
Ebube, do you want to look around?
Come on, now.
We're in 2025. What's going on?
Be for real right now, bro.
Who are the leaders of our society?
Like, come on, now. Come on.
I know.
Be for real, bro.
I get that. I truly understand that. And that is the commentary that they're making.
Yeah.
But I think within the world of the show, it's just funny to think about, especially since this guy has apparently been disappeared since 1967.
Yeah. But he was Vought's Reinhardt man. Like Vought
Yeah,
loved him,
bro.
So
basically. So it's like, so I mean, that's where the explanation goes. But I also think I can't decide if it's funny or just annoying that they really went with the whole I look cooler without my glasses trope for the guy. But like it kind of makes sense because Mary probably corrected his eyesight in the process of completely restoring him.
Yes,
I knew he looked different. The shirts were fitted. It makes sense.
Like
now,
the man was in tip-top shape.
The glasses did make sense. Glasses did.
You can't be cool on your eyesight, not 2020, bro. It don't work.
Hey, bro.
Please,
no,
like in the yo, wait.
Yeah,
see how her face just changed.
Nah, not in real life. I'm talking about comic book universes. Chill. That's not a real life comment. Chill.
I mean, you're right though, because what's the first thing that happens to Peter Parker once he gets bit by the spider? He doesn't need glasses.
And Superman takes off his glasses.
Superman takes off his glasses when he becomes a super.
Yeah.
Like,
so it's just a funny trope. I didn't expect them to use it here, but
anti bad eyesight.
Be spectacled.
Okay, I'll just do Sage quickly, then we'll talk about the end because we're running out of time. I think it's so interesting that Sage, and this just came to me when you guys talking about Sage and Godolkin. It's so interesting that Sage always factors in everybody else's emotions into how they would do things, except someone own. Like Godolkin and her own. Like she doesn't factor in that Godolkin is a prideful and like, yeah, he wants to do their plan, but it's also like he still cares about his own supremacy.
I think she trusts that his intellect and the fact that he's smart will supersede his arrogance and his need for validation.
Literally,
because for her it does. Yeah. For her it does. So she expects that from some, because like I said, she was excited to find somebody who she could consider an intellectual equal. She literally invited him to move in with her. Like
that's how much she considered him equal.
She had to like shove. Oh my God. Yeah.
Chiagoziem, in her scene with Polarity, she basically explains that she was falling in love with Godolkin because she's like, why would you willingly sign up for love if you know you're going to lose your wife and your son? What are your thoughts on that? On her falling in love with this white man, this white 100-year-old man?
I feel like, as you have experienced love in your life, perhaps you should be the one to answer that question, because I don't know. I don't have that experience.
What was that boomerang? What?
Dang.
You know what? Fair enough.
Y'all are laughing, but I'm being so dead ass. I genuinely
why do Uno reverse?
Don't know.
Uno reverse like mad, bro.
I'm never going to lie to you, Chiagoziem. Well done. That might be the most effective shot you've ever given on a podcast. Like I did not see that coming. It came with a mellow tone. I was thought she was going to talk about,
I'm genuinely being serious. I wasn't even trying to like.
That's what makes
don't
it
have
worse.
Thoughts.
That's what makes it more painful.
Yeah, I don't know. Why do y'all do it?
But about Sage, yes, she's falling in love. That's whatever. I don't think that will play a part next season. But I guess we don't know what her quote unquote plans are, what phase 2 is. I'm sure that will obviously play a part into The Boys season 5. I mean, yeah, let's talk about the end. Because like obviously I've spoken about how I've had problems. And I do think again with this Godolkin dying thing, I think if this was not a show that was tied to The Boys season 5, like he would still be here, and that would be my main issue with this episode would be gone.
Because the people that just watch, the people that only watch Gen V, they're gonna be right.
Yeah, yeah. Those people. Shout out to that one listener who only watches Gen V. Like somebody was like, "Why is someone on Twitter was like, why is Sage a supremacist as well?" I was like, "Baby, you have to learn, baby." Okay, let's talk about the end. These guys are on their way after Emma has said goodbye to Greg, which I always knew the door was going to be open for Sam. I just thought it was good because Greg was like a bad person, but he's not. So yeah, fair play to him. Okay, so they stop somewhere because they're trying to find Edgar's bunker, and then Annie comes to meet them. I find Annie, I think, is a great character. I love her. I think she's a great person. Still not sold on her as a superhero. Like
what?
I don't know if it's an popular opinion. I'm just still not sold on Annie as a superhero. I feel like telling everybody like 5 minutes before you get to the location that you're on your way doesn't seem great. But I don't know. maybe it's just me. I think like the fact that she has to charge up to use her powers. Look, maybe I'm just hating on Annie as superhero on Starlight. I don't know. Love Annie.
What kind of haterade?
Love Annie. Don't really rate
This
Starlight.
is a lot hating right now. I can't lie.
But I do like the way, because again, this is a show that, or this character are not people that we watch The Boys, for example. I love the way like all the characters looked at Annie. It's like, oh, she's coming. Like she's to them.
She's a celebrity.
Like, yeah, she's what a superhero should be like to them and everything. And to be fair, the show did try to make her entrance cool with the lights flickering. I don't know how effective it is in a fighting situation. That's what I'm saying. Like if your ops know you're coming, it's not really helpful.
Maybe I'm traumatized because when I saw this lights flicker, I was literally like, "What fresh hell is this? Like, what's about to happen now?" But then I was like, "Okay."
I knew it was her. And then Oseghale's boy shows up, which to me actually, I'm gonna lie, I was genuinely excited when A-Train came up. I was like,
gas as hell, boy.
I was like, "Oh, cameos!" Like you guys were like, "Which cameos are we getting in the finale?" Homelander again.
I genuinely
give
thought you were. I didn't even check there's a post-credit scene in this episode.
No, there wasn't. I checked.
I checked. There wasn't.
Okay. Yeah, and I was like, hey, A-Train, I genuinely thought you were not even in this country, but he's part of the resistance. And they ask this kid whether they want to be part of the resistance, and Emma is funny again. And I guess I was wrong, and these guys are going to play a part. I don't think a big part, but they're going to play a part in the final season of Gen V. Before we get to Oseghale and tells us why he thinks this appearance by A-Train makes...
Do you mean final season of The Boys?
Final season of The Boys, sorry. But the way things are going, we don't know. Final season of The Boys.
Yeah.
Before we get to Oseghale and tells us about why this cameo appearance signifies the end of A-Train to him. What did you guys think when you saw Starlight and A-Train appear?
I enjoyed it. I mean, I was like, okay, clearly they want to close out on a high note for the season, and do the whole thing of setting up season 5 of The Boys. So yeah, we'll see how close this picks up. I think from what I understand, The Boys probably will be picking up like a matter of months after the events of this season, maybe like 6 months. Yeah. So yeah, this is like a good way to kind of prime people for that, and also convince them to like catch up on The Boys, because, well, at least convince that one person who's only watching them.
Yeah. That meant nothing to them.
They're like, who are these people?
Jeremy, were you hyped when A-Train appeared? I think I'm embarrassed to say how hyped I was when A-Train appeared, actually. Because I didn't expect
very
it.
hyped. I'm not
I didn't
gonna lie,
expect it at all.
Yeah. I would say I was surprised. I wasn't necessarily hyped. I think because a lot of things had just occurred and I was still like processing. So I was like, oh wow, okay, yeah, like sure. I think it's definitely just tying back to like reinforcing that The Boys is coming soon, so we should all lock in.
Yeah.
But it was nice to see him. I also thought he was on vacation in a remote island hiding away. So it's nice that he's come back to fight the good fight.
In civilian clothes. Oseghale, why does this mean he's dead?
First of all, like, obviously I was gassed to see my boy A-Train. A-Train's arc in The Boys has been a beautiful one to watch. Like not necessarily villain, I guess, to hero.
No, you liked when he ran through Huey's girlfriend. I get it. I get what you're trying to say.
Chill on that. His villain to hero redemption arc, has been very good. I think like the way they did it in the show and the response to it, like from the audience, has been very positive, right? I did not expect to see him in this episode at all. He was the last person I was expecting to see. So I pulled up again, like Bankole said, I'm embarrassed to say how excited I was. I literally typed in my notes, capital letters, A-Train cameo, let's go. But the fact that he's back and he's in the resistance, it just shows that his fate is sealed even more. Because if it was a different P that, he was still just, in the background, he would just show up here and there to help out, but he's actively part of the resistance. That means that boy is going out in a blaze of glory. He's gonna, he's gonna die probably in the last episode of The Boys. Like, how I see. Like,
because,
again,
go ahead, finish.
Again, I keep telling people, it's like, the way they built, everything started with A-Train. Everything started with A-Train. So it must end with him. And that's the perfect way to close out his hero arc, a life for a life. He's going to end up either dying to save like Huey from Homelander, or start dying during the fight in a very, very heroic way, or doing something very heroic, because again, at this point, that's the only way his arc can end. Like, that's the perfect way to cap off his arc. Like, that's all that's left.
Because this is a podcast.
And the fact that he's deep into the resistance just makes me like more excited and sad about how terrible it is going to be emotionally when he goes.
Because it's a podcast, I'm going to draw the line and take the stance that like he's not going to die. Let's see who comes out on top from next year. He's not gonna die. What does he say when he like all this standing around looking heroic shit? What does he say?
He says putting a bullet in all that right now. That they're rebels now, that they need to act like it.
Yeah, putting a bullet. I was going to say something about A-Train just now, and it skipped my head. But yeah, that just completely left. That was weird. I was still focused on Oseghale's just determination to kill this black man. I forgot what I was going to say.
Whoa, bro. Yo, what kind of... Yo, what? Words, bro.
Yeah, maybe I'll tweet it when it comes back to me, because it's just not coming back. But yeah, no, I am... Oh, actually, I remember what I was going to say now, because everybody's imprisoned, right? Like Huey, Frenchie, they're all gone. So like, not gone as in dead, but they're all in prison. So this resistance, who is inside?
That's a very good question.
That's a great question.
I was thinking about Daredevil Born Again season 1, when he's like, I want to come up an army, and I look around, it's like the army is like 2 ex-cops and a bartender. You're like, nigga, what?
Yeah, like who is this army, bro? Who is this army, bro? So the thing is, yeah, like again, the resistance, I feel like it's probably some other characters that we may not necessarily have been introduced to yet. And also is probably some very unexpected people too that will be a part of the resistance. So that's also to look forward to. And again, it's like, bro, there's so much like in the boys right now, like nobody knows what the fuck Billy is doing, bro. Like that guy is doing his own thing.
He's definitely not in the resistance. That's who they are resisting.
Like, yeah, he's definitely not in the resistance, but there's the X factor involved with him is so much that like that guy can do anything right now. As far as we know, Soulja Boy, can be a piece, right? Because all the knowledge and access to what stuff that like Homelander has now.
But he's still asleep, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still asleep, but like Stan Edgar has that now, right? Stan Edgar had it before, right? So like they might be able to get Soulja Boy onto their... I mean, Soulja Boy already hates Homelander. I don't think it's going to take much convincing to get him on their side. Like, so it's like, I feel like it's going to be pretty level out. Like by the time that last season of the boys comes.
Oh yeah. I just mean like, right now, I think they're like playing cops and robbers. I don't really think there's like anybody of note in that. I think we saw the 2 people of note in that resistance right now.
Fair enough.
Can't wait to see what Ashley's powers are in Gen V season 5. Let's see if Chiagoz's prediction is correct.
Mental shit.
Well, I mean, Chiagozim did not say mental, so we'll find out.
Oh, that's definitely what she said.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's the end of Gen V season 2. A season
we didn't talk about the flash mob, the flash dance.
Oh,
that was...
Yo, Godolkin is a fool, bro.
That's actually so crazy that he did that, man.
When you said flash mob, I was like, did I miss something? And I was like, oh yeah, the dance.
There was actually a flash mob for no good reason.
Bro, that's a real villain, bro. That's a real villain, bro.
Yeah, just because somebody more of him.
Somebody makes you beat, like, you're beating half to death, and it now makes your body start dancing. Like, what kind of shit is that, bro?
Because you kind of feel everything, It's actually kind of wild. And actually, one thing I will say, I do like, I mean, speaking of that flash mob, is the whole thing about how I think his power was done well, essentially. Like, there's probably a way they could have done this and it would have been a little bit ridiculous, but like, every power has risk, and the risk is usually directly proportional to the strength of the power. You guys have watched Hunter x Hunter. Who am I kidding? Of course, I know you have. So
yeah, I have, of course.
Yes, you definitely have.
All episodes.
So it makes sense that like a superpower this broken would have some kind of drawback, right? Or some kind of risk, like as Xenozoic once explained. So it's kind of like it's interesting to me, at least, that the initial V1 symptoms are maintained as the price he has to pay for using his power. Like those lesions, he probably gets them in direct proportion to, how much he pushes himself. We can conclude at least that the burns on his body were not just burns, and maybe like it depends on how many people he's controlling. Not that it may matter too much now. The man's head has been popped.
So I thought okay, that makes sense, because I thought like the lesions were happening, but then the fire still burnt most of his body.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of both, but like
it was a combination of both,
because he's obviously had to control people in order to stay
fair,
moving himself around. Like he's been in Doug. He had Doug for what, 30 years?
30 years.
So
yeah,
like who knows how he got there? Like there could have been different paths. So I just thought that was an interesting
the other
thing.
man from 1960
the older guy.
From that 30 years himself.
And in terms of lessons learned, I mean, well, first of all, I think it's wild how the characters this show never want to miss an opportunity to remind us that Rufus has no dick. They never miss a chance to tell us this. They just want us to know. But I love that Marie was about to do some nonsense with the whole like, no, I've tried running. We all have. And I'm just like, oh my God, I don't have time for this. Like, I don't have energy for this. Polarity has to be like, I'm glad you all learned lessons or whatever. You need to leave.
But you need to get the fuck out of here.
Like, we need to go now.
The guy said, I'm pulling the adult's card.
One of my favorite
like,
now is when a character's blackness just jumps out randomly.
Yeah, exactly. His blackness and his maturity. Like, genuinely, this is what happens when an actual grown adult with sense is part of the group.
Sense is there.
These guys keep making dumb decisions because they don't have sense. They're not grown.
Because it's like, what were they going to stay there and do? Like,
genuinely.
what are you
here waiting for? Oh, so Homelander comes and then it's like,
genuinely.
Like what do you plan to do right now? You managed to beat Godolkin. You don't think you should leave? Come on.
Okay, let's wrap up there. We'll be back next year for Gen V. Sorry, for The Boys, season 5. Yeah, man. This was for me a really good season of TV. Obviously, I have some issues or whatever, but all in all, I really enjoyed the season. We've had some great conversations about the season on the podcast, so I tend to kind of gauge how much I enjoy a season by like the podcast episodes, but usually you can't really have. Maybe I don't feel like you can't really have that kind of good conversations from like shit TV. And sometimes you don't realize how good something is until you sit down with somebody and speak about it. And like, oh, actually, I did gain way more than I thought I did from this. But yeah, enjoy the season. Any final thoughts you guys want to share?
Hey, man. Shout out to the Booty Galaxy.
Okay.
Game clutch.
Okay.
Can't lie, didn't expect that.
I shouldn't have given you the mic. I should have just ended it there. Thank you guys for listening, everyone. If you watch Slow, just check that out. We will probably talk about Pluribus at some point. Maybe more than one episode, we'll find out. You probably don't know what Pluribus is, so go look it up. It's a show that we're kind of excited about because it has one of our favorite TV creators at the helm and one of our favorite recent TV actresses. So, yeah. I have some fun things. I have a fun idea I want to do next year, which I already planning towards. I have some fun end of year ideas I want to do, so hopefully we get the time. Thank you very much for listening. Like, subscribe, share. Remember, don't tell Ebuka
to watch. Oh,
okay. Remember to watch. That was like, remember to watch what?
Task.
I mean, do remember to watch Task. If you're listening to this, the Task season is over, so hopefully you enjoyed it. If not, go watch Task. You have the whole season to binge. But yeah, also remember, don't tell Ebuka and just message him. Wow, I can't believe that happened. Just message. That's all. No reply, no follow up, nothing. Just message Ebuka. Let's see if he actually listens to this podcast. Ebube, thank you for joining us. Thank you for producing this season. Oseghale, Chiagoziem, thank you. And join us next week, next year. We'll be joined by Oscar winner, BAFTA winner, Dado Keeya. Bye, guys.
Keeya, can you please call us Oseghale?
Yeah, call me, baby. Call me.